Live, you're watching the Armoury TV. This is the player rating, the transfer rating show, if you like. As you can see, I'm joined by Gumsa.
How are you doing?
How you doing, Gumsa? Let's just have a quick little intro and we'll get straight into it.
We are Arsenal.
Wembley bound.
We love Arsenal.
Oh yes.
We are Arsenal.
No mercy.
We're Arsenal forever. We are Arsenal.
Road to Wembley.
We love Arsenal.
Oh yes.
We are Arsenal.
Can't stop us.
We're Arsenal forever. Tony Adams, Ray Parlour.
I need a new intro. How you doing, Gumsa?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Just needed that little break away from what was happening. So yeah, feeling refreshed, and hopefully Arsenal could kickstart the season. So yeah,
Well, Nigerian Englishman did say that the season doesn't start until the 11th of September. So let's hope he's right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just quickly, let's talk about this from yesterday, the women's team. Did you see any of it?
I saw a couple of highlights. I saw the manager's celebration. That was brilliant. Yeah, it's actually good to see like something still going well for Arsenal, because for years, we had kind of one of the best academy sides, and the women's side's always been top notch. Do you know what I mean? And the men's side wasn't too bad either. And it's like at least one thing stayed consistent. The women's league is very competitive now. Actually, I think Man United have kind of obviously improved. Chelsea are up there, Man City are now on the up. West Ham ain't too bad. Reading have got quite a good side as well, actually. So the women's league is really competitive. So I think if you get off to a good start like that and beat one of the favourites, hopefully it can kind of fire them and propel them on to go and do some good things this year. So
yeah, I mean, it's changed so much. I mean, you compare it to like 10 years ago. The quality of football has improved massively. I mean, Beth Mead's second goal was, even I can never say a name. The Dutch,
Miedema,
the strikes were unbelievable.
They can play,
and how much the game's evolved. And did you see the video where Beattie walked into the crowd earlier and signed a little girl's shirt, and she was buzzing?
Really?
Yeah, it was nice to see. It was nice. Talking of in the crowd, did you see this? I don't know if you can read that. Arsenal WMC is the only Arsenal team I can watch without crying. I mean, it's true, isn't it?
Brilliant. Yeah, it's got to that point, hasn't it? Like, and actually, do you know what? I was watching the game yesterday. I know when you're playing Chelsea, it is obviously a big game in London. But there was the crowd was massive. Do you know what I mean? Because I know obviously the women don't normally play at the Emirates. It's only when they have the big games. So yeah, the crowd was, again, I know it's international football, so there's probably people just wanting football, but actually that crowd was a big, big crowd, which is showing, do you know what I mean? I think people are giving up on Arsenal and actually going to watch more of the women's game. Because again, I think, was it the Brentford? There was a game Arsenal played recently at home and crowd wasn't great at all.
No, Chelsea.
I think it was Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea didn't sell out, which is unheard of, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so, but again, these are the things which might make a difference long term for Arsenal. If fans are not going as much, and that's when you are forced into a corner of actually we need to change what we're doing, because we can't continue not earning what you used to earning on a match day, because that is a big part of the earning, isn't it? Match day revenue. Yeah. So yeah, see how it goes. So I might try and catch a women's game or two in the season. Actually, it's probably.
Oh yeah, I mean.
To watch Arsenal win a game, so
no. But like you said, they've always been in and around, and they look like they're strengthened this year as well. So it's very exciting to see what happens with them this season. Obviously, they've got the Champions League as well they're playing in. So yeah, it'll be good. Let's go on to the men's game and let's talk about Saka quickly. It was his birthday yesterday.
Yes.
I know it was against Andorra, but that's quite impressive numbers still.
He's my guy, man. Do you know what I like about? He's just one of them likable characters, isn't he, as well? And regardless of what he does, he always performs.
He does.
He strikes me a player. A player where you think they're not brilliant they're not outstanding at one thing, but they're just good all-round player. Like, he's just seems to have it. Do you know what I mean? I can see he's going to have a very, very long career, I reckon. He's a top boy. Yeah, I think he surprises everyone as well. People who aren't Arsenal fans, don't rate him as highly as he is, and it's actually, and this kid's got it. Like, yes, he's not, you know, like Mbappe, Walcott, they're so pacey.
Yes.
What I mean is like, oh my God, his pace. Saka doesn't have that, but doesn't matter what situation you put him in, he's always one of the top 3 players on the pitch, like in most games. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, he's got a very bright future, and I love the way the fans are embracing him as well at the moment. Like, it's, and I think they could genuinely see it as a nice kid, because he seems to be getting more support than the likes of Sancho and Rashford, who went through similar things to him. But it seems like the whole nation's kind of really, really supporting him, which is quite nice to see. So yeah, good on the kid. And yeah, did you see them singing happy birthday to him as well at the end?
Well, his interview, yeah, that was nice. That was a nice touch.
I'm getting a big softie because I was getting emotional watching it.
Listen, mate, you weren't the only one. You weren't. It was when he scored the goal as well. I mean, obviously it was the 4th goal, and the cheers was just as loud as the first one. So
yeah,
it just shows how much of a likable character he is, and how much of a good player he is. So yeah, I completely agree with what you say there. Let's get straight into it then. Let's go with the first signing. We spoke about most of these already, but as we're talking about when we're going to be rating the signings itself and what we've seen, let's start with Nuno Tavares.
Do you know what? I said on the stream the other day when I had my little video clip, I think we're going to see, it's hard for me to judge these players in a weird way. I think they're all good signings. Some of them haven't come to make an impact straight away in the first 11 as such. They're more backups. I definitely think Nuno is definitely that. He's definitely here to play second fiddle to Tierney at the start. But I think you're going to see what he's got to offer in a couple of years. So as terms of what we paid for him, the ability he's shown in earlier games, I'm going to score him a 7. I think he's got a very high ceiling. Physically, he looks very, very dominating. Gets up and down the pitch, very good going forwards. I think needs a little bit of work defensively, but that will come with time. So I'm very happy with this one. I think a 7.
Yeah, I was happy with it as well. I think it was a logical signing. We needed that backup for Tierney because Tierney's made it no secret the way he plays. He's going to get injured, and Tavares is still young as well, and he's very positive on the ball as well. So it's a very good backup to Tierney. And if we're playing a system where Tierney comes in the centre back, we'll be fine with him on the left hand side as well. So I'll agree with you. I'll go with 7 myself. I think I know it's early days, but I think the signing so far has been this man, SAMBI LOKONGA. Obviously, he's just been called up to the Belgian team. I think he played. I don't think it was yesterday. He played in the last game. It wasn't for. I think it was about half an hour. But the fact that he got called up to the Belgian national team speaks volumes to me.
Definitely, Belgium aren't pushovers. Do you know what I mean? It's one thing playing for your country, not being disrespectful to anyone's country, but if they're that middle tier or, do you know what I mean, the lower tier of the guys who qualify. But Belgium are up there is probably what they will rank number 1 going into the Euros, number 1 in the world.
Yeah,
so so to get a call up into that squad at that age is impressive. And again, they've got players like your Tillemans, your Witsel, De Bruyne, who play in them kind of areas. So yeah, to be in and amongst that company, he's well on his way. He thinks he's going to have a solid career.
It's going to help his career as well, being in the national team for Belgium. So
being in a team that wins a game and stuff would definitely help his confidence.
that's just it. So but he has been very positive when we've seen him. He's so comfortable in the ball. He just needs that guy next to him, doesn't he? Just so he can probably express himself a bit more.
Definitely.
I would probably, because it's early days as well, and from what we've seen of him, called up to the national squad, I'll give him a 7 as well. Yeah, maybe a 7.5.
Yeah,
just a little bit better than Tavares.
I think I've got to go higher than Tavares. Yes, we've seen both, but I think Tavares is kind of been a bit more cameos where we've actually put a lot of pressure on LOKONGA straight away to say you're coming in and starting in kind of 2 big early games for us. And he's held his own, to be fair. Again, yes, I would say an 8. And yeah, I'll go an 8 for him. Is he going to be perfect all season? No, definitely not. He's going to have times where his form dips.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's going to have them moments, but I think there's a player in there. And again, his age has to come into consideration. Like, if you're buying an English player at that age, with his level of ability. He's had he's had international cap now, but think of an international player, Mason Mount. You're not getting Mason Mount for less than 50 now. Do you know what I mean?
No,
to get him for under 20 is a bargain, really. So yeah, I think an 8.
Yeah, I'll stick with 7.5. I don't want to heap too much pressure on him. He probably watches us. So up next, 50 million Ben White. Now this is the one that it might score a little low just because of the price. I think it's a logical signing. I think it's a good signing. We can't look too much into the Brentford game. You know, first game for them at home in a new ground in the Premier League. It was always going to be a big ask. Coming up against physical players like Ivan Toney, it's going to be difficult. I would probably rate this one. He's still young. I rate him a 7. I don't. Gumsa.
It's hard, isn't it? Like, I'm going to rate it down, not actually as the player, but actually the signing of putting 50 mil there. That's why I'm going to mark it. That has nothing to do with his performance. I think he'd have a good career at Arsenal, but I think it's just, for me, I've made it no secret of areas I wanted to see a player come in, and in fact, there was other options in centre back. Yes, it wasn't English. Yes, it probably wasn't as young. The players who I was kind of thinking, if you wanted a centre back, but it would have come a lot cheaper, and then you could have spent money elsewhere to improve it. So for that, I think he's getting penalised, but it's not his fault. And again, he's going to get judged, and it's not his fault. He's going to get judged by his price tag, isn't he? So I'll give it a 6, but that's nothing to do with his ability. I think it's just more. Yeah, we know we have a limited budget, even though we spent a lot this year, but we still have to watch our pennies and to outlay 50 there when, we have Saliba and Mavropanos is another one no one really talks about, and he just had a great season in Germany. It's like, did you need to outlay the 50 there? We could have maybe got away with a bit like Leno. We all think Leno might not be the player to take us forward, but that's not a priority right now. Like, there's other places to fix, and we can come back to that when we're sorted. And I think centre back was that area for me. You got 2 good centre backs out on loan. We've had a good defensive record last year. Actually, that area is really not broken. Don't need to fix that just yet. Go and address other things. So yeah, because of that, I'll give Ben White a 6. But it's nothing to do with actually him. I think it's, well, I've probably spoke about Edu and Arteta. Do you know what I mean? It's more to do with them than Ben White.
We'll go on to them. Yeah. I actually understand what you say there, and I think I'm going to score it down as well now. Hearing that, thinking about it now. I'll drop it down by half though. I'll do 6 because I think he's got a bright future with the right players and management around him. He'll do just fine. Next one, it was slightly underwhelming when we signed him. I felt Martin Ødegaard. You're a bit of a fan, aren't you?
I like him. Yeah, I think he's good. I'm happy with this one, to be fair. The price of him is brilliant. I think the thing that stumbled on him was the links were heavy with Maddison.
That's the problem.
And that is then it felt a bit underwhelming because it's like, well, we could have got him, and it's that whole situation again, isn't it? Like, we've taken the second option. But yeah, time will tell in this one. I think we did get him for a steal, really, and honestly, for what he probably is worth. So yeah, I'd give this one 7.5. I'll go 7.5 with this one. I think he will make a big impact for us.
Fair. It's like you said, we signed from Real Madrid. 30 million from Real Madrid is actually quite. But we've seen what he's done. It was flashes last season, but when he came in, we went on a bit of a run. And we were attacking a bit more. What I admire the most is that obviously some will say that he had a bit of a tough time, but he has the desire to come back and try and prove himself in one of the best leagues in the world. And you got to admire him for that. You really do. You can see that he cares about the club. He wants to take the club in the right direction. He's a capable player. I think 7 point. It's fair. I think that was the main area you need to address. What annoys me the most about that area is that the fact that it was no secret, especially going into deep last season, that we needed someone creative, and it took so long to address that. That deal should have been one of the first deals, even before the window opened, and it wasn't. And I think that's why a lot of fans were frustrated. But yeah, we've spoken about Odegaard many times before, and I think I'll agree with you. 7.5 is fair. Next one, Ramsdale.
I think he's similar to the Ben White one. I feel for the kid because he's nothing to do with Emi Martinez, but he's going to get that comparison non-stop. And I'm trying not to do that with him. To me, he's a new player. Martinez is in the past now, regardless of how much I liked him, whatever. You've got to move forward. I do think he's got unfairly targeted. But it's a good signing. It's, again, all the signings in my kind of eyes are good signings because they're all young and all under 23. Do you know what I mean? They're for the future. There will be, if they go on to do good things at Arsenal and we do go on to sell them, they should make more than we spent on them. So we should make profit on all of the players. So in that terms, it's a good signing. Again, he might be one don't sell, and he might be your number one for the next 10 years. Do you know what I mean? And then you've got your money's worth out of him if he lives up to the expectations. Again, it's just, for me, it's the other positions. I know we needed a number 2, and I would have happily took Matt Ryan on a free. Or for me, my one was Romero, who left United on a free. It was like, he's been touted as the best number 2 in the Premier League for the last couple of years, and go and get him. Do you know what I mean? Let him sit there for 2 years, and again, he would push Leno as well, actually. So again, not his price tag. It's not his fault. So I'll give him a 6. But that could easily jump. I think it'd be good to come back in 2 years and rate these players.
Absolutely,
I mean, none of them are here to come in today, apart from, I think, Odegaard, and Ben White. The others are very much
all you
term, aren't they? Like, we'll see the effect of this in a few years to come. Come back.
They keep doing it to us, didn't you? I like Ramsdale. I do. I like his attitude. From his first interview, he said he was going to push Leno. That's what you want to see from a number 2, regardless of how much he costs, regardless of the fact that he got. Well, they say he got 2 clubs relegated. No, the clubs got relegated. He didn't. His save percentile is. I mean, obviously it's going to be high, but it's still impressive. He's young, still plenty of time to improve. And I know it was only against a weakened West Brom, but I like what I saw in that game. I'm not going to rate him on that game. I'm going to rate the signing with the thought that he will go into the number 1 position in the future. So I think a 6 point. I want to go higher than you. I'll go 6.5. I think he'll be a good signing long term. Let's go on to the deadline day signing of Takehiro Tomiyasu.
Done well. You've done very well that one.
I tried my best there. I like the look. I do like the look of him. Obviously, it came out of nowhere. Transfer deadline. I think that was the first time we heard about it. Because I know Spurs were linked with him ages ago, and we were mentioned a few days after saying we could be in for him as well, but nothing materialized, did it? It was just very much, almost paper talk. But we went and actually got something done quite quickly. I'm pretty sure you were like me though. We didn't really know too much about him. We knew he played for Bologna. Haven't really watched Bologna in Serie A, but looking at his profile, looking at some of the clips now. I mean, I know YouTube will make anybody look great, but the profile is very impressive.
Do you know, first thing that stood out to me, how good he was on his left foot. Yeah,
both feet.
That was the first thing that stood out for me. It was like, hold on, he's very comfortable going on his left, and again, that opens up so many different options sometimes. And teams press us, and it's no secret, it's not Bellerin's fault, but sometimes he has to turn back into the centre backs and they swarm him. Well, actually, he's got a great left foot, so he can come in on that left and he will be able to find passes out. So that was the first thing I saw. Also, he seems like he likes to play a lot of forward passes, like over the top. So again, I think that big switch over to maybe Tierney or Saka's out there. Again, it's just those little things we think it just gives you options, which I don't see us really utilising much. And he seems, I think a lot of like Japanese players, Korean players, and that are very technically gifted. Like the way they train. When my son was playing at academy, he played against FC Seoul and another team, and if you saw their warm up, it was like army regimented, like touches, everything. It was like literally like beating a drum to like a rhythm like that. And you can see in areas, those guys are all very tidy in certain areas of the pitch, like ball with their feet and players around. They're their ball manipulation skills are very good. So I think that brings a good aspect. So his pace worries me. He doesn't look the fastest. But equally, in the clips I've seen, I know it's clips because there's probably 100 clips out there of him getting absolutely tore to pieces. But the clips I've seen, he holds his own defensively. And I think he gives us options to go free at the back, doesn't he?
He does. He does.
And this
is another thing I liked about him as well. It was he's very strong with the aerial balls, which is obviously something we lacking at the back.
Yeah, you think Gundogan scored the other day, Sterling last year. And do you know what I mean? A lot comes from that area between right back and centre back, where that little zone you don't defend very well. So, yeah, I think he would make a. I think this is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I really am looking forward to watching him. I've just been crying out for something different in them areas for a long time anyway. So, yeah for me, I'm really looking forward. And I think he's going to be the kind of surprise. Again, sometimes I'm not comparing it to some of the big players that have been out there, but sometimes it's someone you don't expect and comes and just links it all together, and you're just like, where did that come from? And he could be that person. So I'm quite optimistic about him, actually. I'll probably come back next week and I'm talking completely regret what I'm saying.
It's a shock of a first game, but what would you score? What would you score the signing right now?
I have to be honest, just seen him play. I think I want to score him higher, but I'm going to have to just be honest with it. And I think I'll go a 6.5. Partly haven't seen him play, and partly he's probably, again, not the first choice everyone was looking at for a right back. But again, I think this is one where Edu and Arteta might surprise us, and actually it might be the stronger right back's better than a more dynamic right back. So I'm going to 6.5.
That's fair. We haven't seen him. We'll be honest, we haven't watched him in Serie A. So I think that's, and looking at his profile, I think that's a fair score. I am excited. I'm very excited to see what he brings to us, bring to our team. I'll go for a 6.5 as well. Let's talk about there's two I want to highlight, the players going out. Firstly, let's go with REISS Nelson. Because I remember there was a gunslingers not long ago. I think most of us would have sold him.
I wasn't.
I don't think you was.
I wasn't.
Feyenoord on loan.
Yeah, and he signed a new contract. That's the important part, isn't it? It's secured him down for 2 years, and actually, he needs to go and play. He wasted a whole year with us last year.
He did.
Him playing 23s is no point now. He's been too good for that for a while. So I think he must be frustrated last year because people have gone past him where he needed football. So I think hopefully he learnt lessons from his time in Germany because he started off really well out there and it just dipped. So I'm hoping he'll go out there, have a good season. And again, it could be like Willock where teams want to buy him because he's had a good loan. And if they do, then guaranteed the value will be double what we would have got if we sold him 2 weeks ago. So actually, it's a good move all round. He'll develop. Equally, if we sell him, we'll get more money for him if he's had a good if he's had a good time. If he hasn't and he comes back, then you know what I mean, it is what it is. Or he comes back and he's now a part of the first team. So yeah, for me, loans are very, very important for these young boys coming through, and I'm very, very happy with this. I'll give this one like a 8. I would have liked to see him in the Premiership. Just obviously you want him, but again, at the same time, you don't want him to go to the Prem and then we're not getting minutes. So this year might be a year. So yeah, for me, this year might be a year abroad, get your minutes up. Next year, you might have to do a loan in the Prem to get used to the league, and then the year after, then you might be ready for the first team. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you do have to think long term. Sometimes it can't just be here and now. So yeah, I'm happy with this one though.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think Premier League would have been better, but you look at the Premier League teams, and there's not really teams that are looking for players in that certain position and where he plays. So him going to Feyenoord probably does make a bit of sense. They're one of the top teams in Holland. He's shown he's done well in Germany. Let's see if he can do well in Holland. If he can do well in 2 different leagues, who knows?
Yeah.
Like you said, I think the extra year that he signed is probably the biggest part of the deal. It gives us a chance to see what he can do, and like you said, if we can maybe try and get him to a Premier League next season, even if it's with us or somebody else as an option. I would give it, I'll give it an 8 as well. It's sensible. It's sensible. Comment from Matthew West: different manager, a different feel to the team, and players like Nelson. I'm trying to understand that one a bit more. The last bit, but obviously we all know how we've got our own opinions on the manager at the moment, but we'll see what happens after Norwich. Amondi Juma, United Agenda, thank you, sir. Thanks for tuning in. Reiss Nelson's a talent. I thought he would be in the first team squad by now. I think the problem is, and we said that we've got quite a few players in the position that he plays in, and he won't get as many games as he'll need at his age to develop. So we basically touched on that. He also agrees that a great loan for him. He'll smash it in Holland. Well, I hope he does. We're going to be behind him. We'll be keeping an eye on him, and we'll see what happens. Next one, William Saliba. This is one that divides the fan base, I think. Ideally, I mean, I've made my feelings clear on Saliba in the past. I do like him, and my whole thing with him is my fear of him failing with us. That's my biggest fear. He needed a loan in the Premier League. The fact that I think Newcastle were interested, and I think there was someone else, and that for me would have been ideal. Marseille's not really a bad move. I mean, they're a big side, but again, it's in the French league. You want to see him do it somewhere else. So, I'm going to go to you before I give you my rating.
Very similar to you. Again, it's fashionable. We all do it. When you got a new signing, you want to see them. You've spent a lot of money. The talk is he's the next best thing. You look at Fofana, who was his partner, came into the Prem and was, do you know what I mean, exceeded all expectations. Again, he got thrown in at the deep end because of injuries. So you make the comparison. So if Fofana coped, why can't Saliba cope? But again, it's footballers develop differently. Again, you can look at the Reiss Nelson, Jadon Sancho debate. Them two coming up through the years, same age group, and Reiss Nelson was probably ahead of Sancho. And then it could just be physically, I might develop quicker, or do you know what I mean? So actually, I'm more able to cope with the figure of the Premiership. And I look at Saka and think he's developed so well at such a young age. At 16, 17, he's holding his own in the Prem, whereas Reiss Nelson always looks a bit too slight, and he doesn't have that man strength yet. So it could be those kind of things is why actually Saliba's being loaned out more than his actual ability. Because, yeah, like we saw Pablo Mari, Ben White, who have had, do you know what I mean, big careers. Pablo Mari's, how many years experience has he got? And he's getting manhandled by Lukaku. Like, thing the other day, Ivan Toney gave Ben White a problem. Do you know what I mean? So actually, now imagine asking a 21-year-old to come and deal with those guys, and you've got 28-year-olds who are struggling. So actually, it is a bit of protection for him. However, it's you live and die by these decisions, don't you? If you get it wrong, when we lose a game, everyone automatically goes back to do you know what I mean? We're Saliba, defensively we're poor. We got Saliba out on loan. If it's a mistake, keep a mistake. It's we sold Martinez and we got let. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, these things you always get pulled up on if it goes wrong. So I think for his sake, it's probably a good loan again. Marseille have got a good team, but for Arsenal, I feel it almost feels like Arteta doesn't want him, and I think that's what's got the fans the way they are. I think if it's a loan to the Prem, you can make more sense because it's getting experience in the Premiership. But it's like, why is he back in France for a third season? Like, you could even send him to Germany or somewhere different just to test him a little bit. For me, I'll go with 7 with the intention that Arteta does want him. And that's why I could put a 7. And they didn't put the option to buy in there, or did they? They didn't put anything like that in there. No. So it shows me they do want him back.
But my worry is if he comes back, is a year left on his contract?
Yeah, 1 year. So they'd have to try and time down quick. Yeah. And you might have Guendouzi in his ear.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, the little red devil. Amondi says here, William Saliba's a great talent. I don't know what will go on with him, but as Gumsa said earlier, you had a CV talent in the club already. I hope he comes back and shines. And I do. I hope he does. I've got nothing against him. It's just all it is with me is the fear of him failing Arsenal and our fan base, we know how heavy they can come down on the player.
Yeah. And it's so similar. I know Monday says we'll talk about United, but it's like Amad Diallo. Like, he came in, he played a few games, done well, but the feeling was this summer he was going to go out on loan. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And United fans want to see him, but actually for his development, is actually you're not going to really get much minutes ahead of Sancho, Greenwood, Rashford, Martial. So actually what's best for you is go out on loan and play football. And if it wasn't for an injury, he'd be at Feyenoord and we'd still have Reece Nelson. So again, that might work out in our favour, that Reece gets a year experience and Amad might suffer for minutes, and you never know what long-term effect that might have. So I expect Amad will probably go out in January. So there's no right and wrong. You even look at Gilmore at Chelsea, had a great season. He's been talked about highly in Chelsea's ranks, and he's gone out on loan to Norwich, I believe, isn't it? Like, just to get that experience. So there's nothing wrong with these players going out, but it's just because I think we're not performing is why. If we was flying in the league, no one would have anything to say about him.
No.
It's because we're
so I didn't get your rating, did I, on Saliba?
We'll give it a 7 with the intention Arteta does want to keep him. Yeah,
you just get that feeling, didn't you? I don't know. Is it player? Is it manager? We don't know. We don't actually know. I'm going to give it, because I really wanted to see him play at a Newcastle, somewhere like that. I will score it down to a 5.5, to be honest with you. I'll give it a positive. It's a positive 5. Put it this way. Like you said, he's still young. The French league, I know it's the French league, but Marseille, like you said, are a good side. They're going to come up against good players in the French league.
And I think they're in Europe as well now, I believe.
They're in Europe. So they're going to come up against some good players. So it'd be good to see how he does against them. That's for sure. Amondi says, I hear you, but if Benham had gone to a Prem team from Birmingham, he might have not had to get. Oh, it's very true. It's very true. And I heard them talking about yesterday in their England stream yesterday. They were talking about Saka as well, and made some very good points. And that is a very good point. Let's go on to, I don't know. Is there any of the other loanees or the one players that we sold you want to talk about? Willock. Yeah, let's talk about Willock. Go on.
Actually, can we do 2? I want Willock first.
Yeah.
I'm going to score that. I'll be really quick. I'll score that 8.
An 8?
I think, I didn't want to. It's one and ones like Willock, nothing against him, but the team comes in for that kind of money for him. When, again, we would have sold him in January for a quarter of that. I think we've done well to get good money out of him. And so, and again, sometimes you have to make these difficult decisions and move these players. He's not going to play much. I do think he would have improved us, but I think we just have to accept it was.
I must admit,
that came in, and I'll score it. I think it was the right thing to do.
I was pretty livid at the time because you looked at our midfielders. None of them are really goal scoring midfielders, and we had one right in front of us.
No.
And we sold him to Newcastle. But I think we got a good deal out of it. He could have stayed. He could have been on a poor for a run, and we ended up selling for 10 million somewhere else. So
a bit like you look at the Maitland-Niles situation, isn't it? Like, got offered 25 or something from Wolves, and now I don't think we get 10 for him at the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think it's one of those ones. Strike while he's in demand.
And then the other one you wanted to talk about, was it Guendouzi?
No. Oh, that would upset me. I'll stop the stream
right now.
Okay,
wait. Why don't we talk about Guendouzi? Give it a quick score and we'll be done.
No, we can score him. I scored that one a 2. You should not have sold that guy.
Yeah, I know you're not happy about that. No. I'll give it 6. But go on.
And then I think Mavropanos is the one that goes people don't talk about, and I think that's a poor decision again. I'm giving that a 2 as well, just because we didn't get good value for him.
No, and you're right. You are right. And he, out of all of our defenders that were on loan last season, he was our best one in the German league as well. He's quite physical over there, and he done really, really well. So I agree with you.
And again, you might as well let him have a season with us and let him walk out on a free. Because to get 5 mil, that's not scratching the surface, is it? Like, so you might as well let him have half a season with us, see how he gets on, and then made your decision. If he's not good enough, then you either try and move him on at January or you let him walk out at the end of the season. But to sell him for that much whilst he's had such a good season, that to me was bad business, I think.
Yeah. Interesting one there from Matt West. with these loan players, if Wenger was in, how do you think they would have improved compared to being under Arteta? Well, we all know Wenger were young players. We knew he liked playing with young players, giving them chances.
It's 50-50, isn't it? Because Wenger's brought through some. Well, he brought through a lot, let's be honest. But then there's a lot who left under Wenger's leadership who have gone on to do really, really well. I know the obvious one's Gnabry, but there was people like Ismail Benacer, guys like that who left and have gone on to have really good careers. So, yeah, he got it right with some and then he got it wrong with some. So I think I'm not going to say Arteta's got it all wrong because you can see the development of Smith Rowe and Saka. Do you know what I mean? They're doing bits for us at the moment. I'm sure there'll be more to come as well. Yeah. I think that Patino's looking good. Aziz gone out on loan. So, I'm not going to judge him on them. I think it is what it is. We played all kids and got absolutely hammered. It would kill their careers anyway, their confidence, and fans would be on him. Equally, if he doesn't play enough, then I get it. Fans do love to see homegrown players coming through. So it's just getting that balance right. Yeah,
which moves us on to as a collective, Edu, Arteta, and the board in terms of the signings and ins and outs. And in fact, let's just go overall, shall we?
You know what? I'm gonna. It's gonna be a bit controversial. Can I? I'm gonna score. So I'm gonna give Edu one because I'm gonna split them.
Okay.
Sorry. I want to give Edu a 7. I don't think he's brought badly. I would have liked to see more players leave, one in particular, but I don't think he's brought badly. But I think it's Arteta's the reason why Edu's under a lot of pressure. If Arteta was getting more out of these players,
that's true.
Would we be even moaning about what Arteta? If we have won the first 3 or 1-2 and drawn 1, would we be moaning about what Edu's done because Arteta's delivering? I think he's getting drawn in because Arteta's not delivering. Because you look at the scores we've given all our players, no one scored less than a 6. And there was only because of the value. Actually, if you look at them players on the whole, we've all probably ranked them players as like 8s going forward. So it's more on actually Arteta's not getting the best out of them. And that's why we're questioning Edu's signings. So, yeah, I would give Arteta a 3 at this moment. I'll give Edu a 6, actually. I'll give him a solid 6. He has to.
Yeah, do you know what? I hear you. I do hear you. And he did come out and speak this week.
Yeah, I was.
And, I mean, he spoke a good game. I don't know what you think. I think he did. And I think 6 isn't an unfair score. I think people are going by last window where we bought in Willian and that didn't work out for us.
Yeah.
And that's going to stick with him for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Unless the players that we bought in this window come up and do something amazing this season. So yeah, it could change a lot of people's views on him. I don't really want to score Arteta because Arteta is more on the pitch for me. Let's see if he can get the best out of his players. I'm not confident at the moment, but who is? But Edu, I think that's a fair score, 6. I do like that. The window overall.
I'm going to go over 5. We've done a lot of business. The squad looks healthier to a certain degree, but it could go either way. It really can. I said, if we don't produce in the next 2 years, yes, we got resale value on them players, but then we're going to lose our best players like Saka, Smith Rowe, and those guys. They're not going to wait around forever. If it goes, do you know what I mean? So it's just a risk, isn't it? Of we haven't really improved our 11. We haven't got in there seasoned players who are going to straight away come and make a massive impact on this team. So we're still reliant heavily on what we had last season. So I get what they've done. They've tried to protect the future. They've tried to stabilize us a bit and go in a new direction. But it's very risky because if it doesn't come to fruition, you've spent all that money. These players still, your 11's still not good enough. Then again, you can't then blame some of the other players that they're saying, actually, I want out with this. Do you know what I mean? How long can we keep hold of Partey if we have another year like we had? Gabriel's another centre. How long are we going to keep hold of him if we're another year without European football? So it was a risk for me to really go down that route. So I'm going to score it a 5 just because it could go either way. I don't know which way it's going to go. And a lot of that relies on Arteta, doesn't it?
I absolutely agree with that. I think 5's fair. I think it's a very fair. I think the money is the issue because obviously Arsenal spent the most and haven't really got a marquee signing out of it. It was, we could see where they were going, what direction they were going in the window, which is obviously younger players. Are they players that can get us back into Europe? Might forget about Champions League. Europa League's got to be the target for me now. Not Conference League. Ideally not. And who knows, if Arteta was to go halfway through the season and another manager comes in and gets a tune out of these players, it could turn out to be a super window. Yeah. So I think playing it down the middle is probably fair. Just give these players a chance. We're going to be backing them now. They're our players now. We're going to want them to do bits. So I think overall 5 is a great score. Go on.
I said it in the stream before. We might look back at this window in 2 years and be like, this is the best window we've ever had. Do you know what I mean? This window could really set us up going into the future. And then you might look back at it. Edu and Arteta might get sacked this season, and then in 2 years, it all comes. Their plan comes through, and it's actually like we can see what they was building now, and it's now hit. Like Smith Rowe's 24, so I mean, all them boys are like 24, 25, and we could be flying. But again, it's just that time, and I don't think they have much time, just because that's football nowadays. Gone are them days of waiting around for success. Like it's got to be instant, and yeah, no different at Arsenal now, isn't it? We got a lot of pressure from smaller clubs like Everton, Villa, teams like that. West Ham trying to overtake us. So you get caught behind, it might be a long time to get back to where we were. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Definitely that.
It's just obviously we've got a reactionary fan base, haven't we? They all think they're financial advisors. And, they're like, oh, why are we spending this amount on that player, this player? Whereas before, why don't we just pay 50 million for him anyway if we wanted him? So it's always going to be, one of them ones, isn't it? But like I said, I think you could look in 2 years' time and go, do you know what?
You can't win.
So yeah, I'm happy to give all the guys a chance. I'm looking forward to seeing Tomiyasu in particular because we haven't seen him yet. Could he feature against Norwich? I mean, he could. I don't know if he has
Can't see why not.
Period. Is there an isolation period? I don't know. So I don't think he's over here.
No idea, if I'm honest. But don't think so. But yeah, if we soon find out.
We'll see what happens. It's still a long season, and as Nigerian Englishman likes to remind us, the season starts this weekend. So we'll come back in a year, and we'll have to do a ratings on the same players and see where we're at.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Definitely up for that.
But Gumsa,
nice one, brother.
We're going to put it to a close. We were looking to do this for about half an hour, but we've gone slightly over.
A little bit over.
But it's these, once you start talking about them, you can't stop.
Passion kicks in. But yeah,
we love them too much. Just a couple of comments before we disappear. Amondi says, Niles is being treated badly. He was in England squad based on his run of games. These guys will give you a bit of passion. It's very true. I can't disagree with that. And big up the Armoury. Great show, guys. Thank you very much for watching.
Here's Monday.
For those of you that are new, could you please and that'll be us for now. Gunslingers will be back on Thursday, 8 o'clock, I believe. Don't know what we're going to be talking about just yet, but I'm sure something will come up, as it always does when it comes to Arsenal. And we're going to love you and leave you.
Have a good one.
Thank you, Gunther.
We are Arsenal.
Wembley bound.
We love Arsenal.
Oh yes.
We are Arsenal.
No mercy.